Hey, welcome back. This is EC's EDC, and today we are having a look at the EVERGOODS CHZ22. This is version 3. A much awaited for version by many folks who did not like that the internal laptop compartment was, in with their stuff. A lot of folks wanted that dedicated compartment. So EVERGOODS heard the feedback and they said, fine, we'll trade you a yoke pocket for a laptop compartment. So there's a couple other minor layout changes we'll take a look at, but the question is, do you like the new version or do you prefer version 2 with the laptop compartment on the inside and, of course, having the updated back panel? So let's take a look and start off with some specs just to go over the bag itself. So this is a 22-liter backpack. The CHZ also comes in a 26-liter. This 22 comes in at 2 pounds and 8 ounces, or 1,134 grams. 19 inches tall, 9.5 inches wide, and 5.5 inches deep, or 48 centimeters by 24 centimeters by 14 centimeters. This is made from the same 840D solution dyed nylon that you're gonna find across much of this company's product line. And it also includes a 420 high tenacity nylon on the inside. Some other materials, YKK number 10 RC zips along with a number 8 RC zip. Both have DWR finish. And the straps use a Zote EV50 foam. So this backpack, very similar aesthetic wise. Couple small differences to mention actually. Right out of the bag when I opened this, and still, a couple weeks in, this 840D feels a little different. It's a little bit smoother to touch. It feels more durable. It's almost like it's changed somehow. The weave feels much tighter and just more durable. I really like it. We'll see how it breaks in. We have a comparison to talk about later, so we'll take a look at that as well. On the exterior, you'll notice we still have the 2 water bottle pockets on the side of the bag. No changes here, but we do have a front panel zipper. So this is the major change. Instead of having our yoke pocket, right, up here at the top of the harness, where behind the handle you would find a nice big large pocket that opens up, really leveraging how EVERGOODS built this backpack with the curved back panel and harness system to sort of take that little piece of the pie here, this little triangular shape, and turn it into a very useful pocket. They've transitioned your quick access or external access to this front pocket. And it's very similar to what you're gonna find on the MPL 22, a little bit smaller than that, I would say, just by a little bit based on experience. I didn't go and measure. But that's where you're going to be working out of on the go. Now, they have moved the laptop compartment from the outside or from the inside of the bag to where the yoke pocket was, essentially. And it is a drop-in, suspended, pretty padded area with no internal organization. So you just got one giant area to throw your laptop and tablet. And it's also water bottle, water bladder compatible in case you're gonna take this outside and decide to do a little bit of hiking. Now, that's the main difference. So we're gonna take a look at the inside of the bag. There's a few small layout changes with the internal pockets, but if you want, check out the previous CHZ22 or 26 video that I had released. This bag, still just as comfortable. I find the harness great. These CHZ bags are some of the best do-it-all backpacks I've encountered. And now you get one that's a little bit more office friendly, at least for folks who like that dedicated laptop zipper. Whereas the previous version, the V2, it still works. You still have the laptop compartment inside the bag, but this makes it a little easier to get to your tech when the bag is fully packed. So maybe a little bit better for travel in that aspect as well. So let's quickly dive in. Front pocket here. This is what I am carrying. Usually there's going to be keys in here as well, but Inside, we find that very good size pocket you're gonna see on the MPL series bags, and it is quite voluminous. Inside you'll find a tethered key lanyard with a spring-loaded clasp, and plenty big for your smaller items, and even some larger pouches. Well, maybe not larger pouches, but you'll definitely fit some smaller pouches into this space as well. So I've been a fan of this so far. The yoke pocket is great, don't get me wrong. This has been a decent compromise because you do get the external laptop compartment. So I'm okay with the trade-off. The vertical standing yoke pocket is fantastic. We'll see how this does long-term, but so far I'm pretty satisfied. Down at the bottom of the bag, you have EVERGOODS signature patch loop field. Water bottle pockets, these are the best in the business. I've not found any company who can really rival these. Maybe a couple makers do them very well, but these are just dual layered, incredible. They swallow up a Nalgene, as you can see here, and they're just super useful. In fact, I've also got an umbrella stashed in this one, just to show you some of the versatility. These water bottle pockets have little slits for drainage to allow water and debris to run out when, things get in there. On the opposite side, we have a look at our harness system. And this is your very typical EVERGOODS harness system. No major changes to this, except I do think that the straps are ever so much wider than they used to be. I measured a couple of the backpacks I have here, the CPLs. I don't have any of the older CHZs. The CPLs are measuring about 2.5, roughly, inches wide, and these are a little bit closer to 3 inches. So you get a little bit more disbursement of weight on your shoulders, which is really nice. Unsure if that's a differentiation from the previous version CHZ. So if you can confirm, great, let us know. Standard sternum strap clip here with the spaces for adjustment. They are reversible, removable, and customizable. Pass through for that bladder hose that we did mention earlier. We'll take a look at that. And version 3 still does not incorporate any strap keepers to keep your dangle to a minimum. Very breathable back panel for all intents and purposes. This 3D spacer mesh does a great job with the monofilament. I find it breathes very well, no issues, in the summer. You're gonna get sweaty in the summer no matter what, but I think EVERGOODS does a pretty good job with their take on the back panel. This is reinforced down here, and you can feel the foam that comes through the back of the back panel. And I don't find that this bag digs into my back. I don't know my torso length offhand, but I am 6 foot tall. And I find EVERGOODS to be very comfortable. So hopefully that is useful information for you. And I also do wear the bag high and tight, pretty much cinched down as tight as it goes without making it uncomfortable. So taking a look at the top of the bag, we do have the typical handle with the 2 gear loops in the sides, very standard for EVERGOODS. And that is the exterior of the bag. So with that said, let's dive into the first change, right? This is your laptop compartment, and there's no division of space inside. It is just one single suspended sleeve, and you get the padding from the harness system on the back of the bag. And there's no true padding on the inside, but you do have that pocket with the elastic slot. So it's not super padded, but it is sufficient in my opinion. And then of course here at the top, you do get the little piece of nylon loop where you can attach your bladder. So this is a 13-inch machine with a 11-inch iPad. And I keep them in here together because that just allows for easy access of either item as I'm using the bag. Looking in the main compartment, we do notice, actually this is a good time to mention this, the zipper track has been adjusted on this bag. So let's take out the Nalgene and the umbrella. The zipper track slightly took a more curved approach. On the previous CHZ, the zipper track was more of a straight U. Here, it starts very centered at the top, and then it moves forwards towards the front of the bag and the front of this water bottle pocket. So something to note there. I do find the zipper to be very stiff, that number 10 RC YKK zip, typically very stiff on EVERGOODS bags, but it feels robust, it feels sturdy, doesn't feel cheap in any sense of the word. One thing to note about the zipper track, when you have something here inside the pocket, you may find that when the zipper is all the way down, it is a little hard to get to when there's an item in front. So keep that in mind. So if I just push these down, umbrella in here, you can see what I mean. It is just a little bit in the way. Not terrible, but some folks might find that frustrating. So far it's been fine for me, no problems, but always worth mentioning. So when we open the main compartment, this is a half zip, right? This is the Civic Half Zip series, so you're gonna get a half zip opening. And in here we see that opaque pocket, so very similar to the previous version. The main difference is that in the previous version, there was a mesh pocket here that actually opened from the bottom, so that in this orientation you had a pocket you could access, and when it was zipped up, you would access the opaque pocket. EVERGOODS decided they were going to move the pocket from this lower area here to the back of the bag. So now you have this more flat style pocket, probably very similar in dimension and volume, but they've moved this to up here. And with that change, you lose the loops that used to be on the inside of the bag, the gear loops that were great for customization, attaching things to the inside of the bag. I know some folks like to pin up a water bottle using those in the CPL series, but they are now missing. And this is a pretty good size pocket. I've got a small pouch and a passport wallet. So this has 2 passports and it fits inside here, no problem. And I can also put that pouch on top. So it does have a pretty decent amount of volume considering it is a rather flat pocket. So this has transitioned from the folding side of the opening to the back panel. And you still get this opaque pocket with EVERGOODS logo and patch to indicate a little information about the product. And up here I have just a snack pouch, using this to really fill the capacity of the front of the bag so you can see that profile shape. It does still have a bit of that, I think it was called the rhino horn, where you get this bulge here at the top. And I don't think it is by any means an ugly bag or aesthetically unpleasing. The CHZ22 was actually one of the first backpacks, higher end backpacks I ever bought. So I do gravitate to this design, but some folks might be wondering, oh, if this is really packed out, does it sort of sag? And the answer is yes. You can see, you can almost see that imprint here, that line where the bag, kind of collapses a little bit inwards. But that can be solved by putting more larger items inside the bag and really packing it to capacity. So back to looking at inside the bag, I have a Kettle Mountain rain jacket. I have the EVERGOODS Element pouch, pair of Sony headphones, EVERGOODS half cap, triple aught design booster pod, Philip Robot admin pouch, and that's going to really let us see inside here where there is that very traditional elastic sleeve, giving you a spot for notebooks, magazines, additional items, and I've got moleskin notebook in my journal stuffed in there. So with the bag empty, we'll give you a little look inside here. Not much else to mention, but it is a pretty good size bucket, which I do find very useful. So with the everyday carry items removed, let's take a quick look at EVERGOODS' newest item. This is the Packing Cube 10 liter, so TPC 10. This is maxed out. I think I have 8 shirts, 2 pairs of pants, handful of underwear and socks. And it's pretty nice. I like it. I like it way more than the number 8. The number 8 I found to be kind of useless. You couldn't get too many things in there, but here we are. Fits great inside the CHC. You can see how it's very well designed. Handles everywhere to make it super easy to pull in and out. So if you're thinking about traveling with this bag, maybe the TPC 10 is something to consider. And then alternatively, we have the Peak Design Small Packing Cube, very popular option, a little bit more minimal. Peak Design does say when this is compressed in this form, it's about 4.5 liters, and fully expanded, it is also 10. I would say that this fully expanded 10 compared to this 10, this will not fit the same amount as the EVERGOODS 10 liter. So food for thought. Takes about half the space inside the bag. And I also find that these fit fantastic at the bottom of the bag as well. So just a couple packing cubes to show you, some potential options when it comes to the new CHZ22 or 26 in their version 3. So I'm just going to start loading up this bag while we talk about, I guess, my final thoughts. So I had been waiting for this to come out for a while. I think a lot of folks anticipated a version change when, the CHZ had been around since, 2019, right? So it's been a long time. The only major change was the back panel, and that was a great change, but I think folks were looking to have their feedback recognized, which an external laptop compartment is often something people talk about. I think EVERGOODS made a good compromise. It is hard to make the perfect bag. That's why you see me with different backpacks. That's probably why you're looking at this video too. We're always on the hunt for that perfect bag. And this is an example of making decisions, coming to compromises, trying to make everybody happy, trying to make the bag better while doing so. And I think EVERGOODS did a pretty good job. I do miss the yoke pocket, but I'm okay with it because you still get some external access. I wouldn't call it super quick access because you can't access this when it's on your back. But you do get a nice separated laptop compartment. One of my big pet peeves when using the CHZ V2 was when the bag's packed out, it was very difficult to get to your laptop, to your iPad, to anything inside that sleeve because it was buried. It was buried under everything else. And it made reaching for those items very difficult, especially when in travel or in motion. So having that dedicated space, I think, is a big improvement. Now, another thing that I really like about this is the material. It just feels smoother. It's more robust and rugged. It feels different to me somehow. I can't explain it. It doesn't feel like the same sort of, I wouldn't say ballistic, but maybe when it breaks in, I'll be like, oh yeah, that's more familiar. But right out of the bag, feels very smooth. It's very sleek. It's great. I do like that when they made adjustments on the inside of the bag, making space for this, they still retained the same amount of pockets on the inside. So you get the 2 pockets, but they compromise again. You lose the webbing on the inside of that back panel, which was great for customization, attaching things to the inside of the bag. So, you know, again, compromises, right? It's not gonna be perfect. And I like the design. I think there's a couple small changes that you'll notice. One being the zipper track. So now it's a little bit more slanted ever so slightly. And there's this extra panel here, this little bit of fabric that was, you know, it's probably designed to help allow for this pocket to operate and for the zipper to be adjusted in the laptop compartment. I'm sure it's all part of the equation. Some folks might not like the added panel, but I think it gives the bag a little bit of symmetry, keeping this essential stitching line from the bottom of the bag up to this front pocket. I think it looks nice. I'm actually kind of fond of it, to be honest, where I've seen folks say they didn't like it. But in my opinion, it looks really nice. So overall, lots of great things to say about this updated version. The negatives, you lose the yoke pocket. Compromise, deal with it. You lose the webbing on the inside of the bag. Again, compromise. Deal with it, or, you know, go a different direction. And I have 2 more. The last one is sometimes you lose the zipper behind, you know, for instance, water bottle. Maybe not this one in this moment because this Nalgene's a little short, but the zipper pulls can sort of become hidden behind larger items. But the one thing I was really hoping for, and this is not a critique of the bag as it is, but me being hopeful, I was really hoping that when this was finally released, when they provided a new CHZ, they would incorporate a front dump pocket and or the tablet sleeve on the inside. Now I think they one up this request by giving you the dedicated laptop compartment that is externally accessible. But how cool would it be to have this front dump pocket right under here, having one extra massive pocket on the front? I think that would just be a great homage to the PLC. Too bad we won't see you again, at least very soon, and really vamping up this bag. I think it would have been a nice addition, more complex, I'm sure, but maybe we'll see it on a V4, who knows. But I think that would have been really cool to have 2 quick access pockets, 2 external pockets on the front of the bag, to sort of keep with that style that you see across so many pieces in their product line. So overall, I love this bag. I've been using it a lot over the past 3 weeks or so, and I find it to be very comfortable, very useful, and more so for me, better for work. This now transitions from a bag that was my day bag, travel bag, to I'm taking this to work because I can put my laptop here and I can get to it when I need it. So all said and done, it's a great bag. Great updates. I'm very pleased for the most part, and I hope this information is helpful for you if you're looking to consider the CHZ22 or 26 in the most current release. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.